Hi everyone, welcome to our presentation today, which is on the 7-Elevens and specifically in the Taiwanese market. I'm Daniel and I'll be presenting alongside Ashan, Morgan, Chantal and Faris, who you'll hear a bit from later today. Now, what is 7-Eleven? It was founded in America, Dallas, Texas in 1927 by a company known as Southland Ice Company. Now, in the beginning, they just sold ice blocks that were used to keep food refrigerated in homes. These stores were firstly known as totem stores, and that was because customers toted away their ice blocks. An employee at one of these totem stores began to sell eggs, milk, and bread on Sundays when the grocery stores had closed down for the weekend. This was the first concept of convenience stores. Now, people found these very convenient, and they began opening for extended hours during the week at night when grocery stores had closed down. And in 1946, totem stores were finally rebranded to the name 7-Eleven, and that was because they were now open daily from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. In the 1950s, 7-Eleven began to expand across America. They were no longer just in Texas now, they were starting to spread their wings across the nation, moving into Florida, Washington, and other states. We today know 7-Eleven to be open 24 hours a day. And this came about by accident. One night in Austin, Texas, 1962, a 7-Eleven located near a university campus became so busy from a football match played that Saturday night that the staff actually forgot to shut down. Once they realized the time, and they did shut down, they realized that there was a lot of demand, not just during the day, but also at night, especially in this location. The manager of that store realized this and decided to do an experiment of opening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it was a huge success. They found that 7-Elevens were in demand not just all day, but also all night. And the rest of the US soon caught and followed this local 7-Eleven's footsteps in unison. The convenience store concept developed, and while everyone is still using grocery stores for their daily shopping during the week, 7-Eleven convenience stores are used for supplementary purchases of essential items that could be readily consumed by shoppers. Now, international expansion. First and foremost, 7-Eleven expanded into Canada in 1969. This was their first international expansion. And since then, it has continued to expand at a rapid rate of every 2 to 3 years into another country. Now, on the right, you can see a table which shows what countries 7-Elevens are, and in 2011, the number of locations within that country 7-Eleven stores are. So you can see in Canada, there are 467 7-Elevens as of 2011. Now, in 1974, 7-Elevens were expanding so rapidly that they were almost 4 times the amount of 7-Elevens overseas than there were in the United States. Now you can see in the table at the bottom in number of locations, a total of 43,608 7-Elevens across the world in 2011. Recent data has shown, as of January 2006, there are 58,500 stores worldwide, meaning that this is not a dying industry. It is continuing to expand all over the world at a rapid rate. In 1980, the first 7-Eleven opened in Taiwan through a franchise deal with PCSC, which is the President Chain Store Corp. Taiwan have the second highest population density in the world, with 616 people per square kilometre and a massive 9,737 people per square kilometre in Taipei, which is their most dense city, making Taiwan the perfect location to expand the convenience store industry. Although a perfect environment for a growing industry, competition joined to get a piece of the cake, which will be explained a bit further by Ashan. Now, I don't want to give away too much about the Taiwanese market, as that's what we'll be looking at in depth today, and here's what you can expect to find out from our other speakers. The principal economic and industry characteristics of the convenience store industry in Taiwan. SWOT analysis on 7-Eleven, so that is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. 7-Eleven's position in the Taiwanese market, and lastly, 7-Eleven's international strategy. Over to Ashan now.
Hi, my name is Ashan. I'm here to explain about the principal economic and industry characteristics of the convenience store industry in Taiwan. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the importance of industry's dominant and economic features. The economic features are important in analyzing a company's industries and competitive environment. It also provides an overview of the overall landscape of the industry. It helps the organization to know the different kinds of strategic moves the industry members are likely to employ. Economic and industry characteristics to be considered. They are the market size and growth rate, number of rivals, buyer needs and requirements, degree of product differentiation, and product innovation. Now I'm going to talk about the market size and growth rate. The market size refers to the total number of firms operating in the industry. It is also important to know if the industry is growing, declining, or static. It depends on the position in the industry in the business life cycle, which is early development, rapid growth, early maturity, stagnation, and decline. The pace of development in Taiwan has not slowed, and convenience stores have become an indispensable feature of everyday life for locals and a vital refreshment point for foreign tourists. Taiwan has more than 10,000 convenience stores, one per approximately every 2,000 residents, the highest density in the world. Industry leader 7-Eleven, operated by President Chain Store Corp., boasts close to 5,000 stores and expects to hit their target later this year. While number 2, Family Mart, has 2,900, followed by High Life and OK Mart chains, with 1,296 and 880 shops. Secondly, I'm going to talk about the convenience store rivalry in Taiwan. Organizations should also know whether the industry contains too many rivals or it is dominated by few large firms. Furthermore, they should also know the various development in the industry such as mergers and acquisitions. According to the statistics mentioned above, 7-Eleven has a large number of convenience stores. They are 7-Eleven, Family Mart, OK Mart, and other small shops. Therefore, industry sources say that they must each develop their own niche to survive. For example, the Family Mart located opposite Everidge duty-free shop in Taipei cities takes payments in yuan to satisfy customers from mainland China. The exchange rate is posted above the cash register, just like in a small bank, and the shops provides delivery service all the way to the purchaser's home and on the other side of the street. Thirdly, I'm going to talk about the buyer needs and requirements. Industry members must also take into account the needs and tastes of final buyers. Therefore, organizations have to do a lot of periodic research in order to know the major shifts in buyers' needs and requirements. They should also know the various factors affecting buyer behavior. So, buyer needs and requirements in Taiwan is increase in the demand for quick meal solutions by consumers. And there is also an increase in need for fast transactions and one-stop shopping. There is also an increase in demand for health and wellness foods and for services such as photocopying and Wi-Fi inside their convenience stores. And also, the industry is also focusing on attracting price-sensitive consumers by launching a value meal box targeted to the working class. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the degree of product differentiation. Product differentiation is another important factor to analyze the overall industry situation. If all the products of the industry are not fully differentiated, then it will increase competition among members in the industry. In this case, prices will be lower and new entrants will find it hard to compete with existing firms. So in the convenience market, in the convenience industry of Taiwan, there's a low degree of product differentiation due to a rising number of convenience stores. Store loyalty cards, quick meal solutions, health and wellness foods, and other services such as Wi-Fi and printing solutions are provided to reduce competition and increase product differentiation in the market. Lastly, I'm going to talk about product innovation. Product innovation can be used as a measure to know the dominant industry features. If the industry is characterized by rapid product innovation and short product life cycles, then the research and development is very important for the success of the organization. In such cases, members of the industry should come up with new products to compete efficiently. In the convenience store industry in Taiwan, pre-ordering is an innovation to the convenience store industry in Taiwan. Delivery and pickup is an innovation because customers can purchase a product that is not sold in the convenience store, have that product shipped and picked up when it's arrived. And telecom and iCash is another product innovation in Taiwan, in the Taiwan convenience store industry. The coffee counter is also another innovation and provides customers with fresh coffee any time of the day, and has been very convenient for the coffee obsessed Taiwanese.
Hi, my name is Morgan. I'm going to be talking about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in our SWOT analysis section. 7-Eleven in Taiwan were industry leaders and innovators from the moment they entered into the Taiwanese market. Their stores were unlike anything the country were used to, with bright, neat, and well-lit environments. This in stark contrast to the dark, cramped, and musky local store setups. It was even reported in parts that their stores were so clean, some customers assumed they had to take their shoes off before entering. Unlike zoning requirements in the Western world, where restrictions are placed on the number and types of businesses in each area, a specific high-rise in Taiwan may house several different businesses, as well as offices and living quarters, meaning there was a potential for a 24/7 flow of customers. To entice youths and elderly alike, the stores would offer local foods as well as American products, which proved significantly appealing to the younger Taiwanese generations. The profit margin on a single Slurpee was equivalent to that of a dozen infant formulas. After a decade of trade, the company relaxed some of its more established systems, specifically those relating to ownership, location, and merchandising. The chain was no longer purchasing sites, allowing them greater flexibility and where they position themselves. Innovation. Above anything, 7-Eleven were experts when it came to innovation. The company has rolled out thousands of initiatives, increasing the convenience for its customers, and continues to do so, with the company's Chief Operating Officer, James Hsieh, declaring that anything that bothers customers are business opportunities for the chain. 7-Eleven's strengths in IT enabled the chain to be the first in allowing customers to book train tickets and airfares, pay bills, or book a seat at a local cinema. Most significantly, the stores allowed license holders to renew their licenses, which on average would attract around 4,500 people per day. The chain also implemented delivery and pickup services, allowing customers to drop an item at one 7-Eleven and have it delivered to another 7-Eleven on the other side of the country. As well as this, the company entered into the telecom industry, developing its own telecom brand, 7 Mobile, which would allow customers with their SIM to access free Wi-Fi points in every single store in the country. A similar initiative surrounded iCash, in which the chain sold prepaid cards which would be used as debit cards and which were treated as e-wallets, thus simplifying the purchasing process. The introduction of fresh coffee triggered some 400,000 sales of coffee in 7-Eleven stores per day, while zoned-off seating areas in stores catered for the increased demand in seating space for the elderly, for elderly people to congregate and children to use as an after-school care space. One of the company's more thoughtful innovations surrounded their taxi service. Those too drunk to drive home were cared for by the chain, who would, in return for a fee, arrange for a driver to drive the individual home and another driver to take the individual's car home. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, the company shied away from the traditional mold of storing all inventory on site, with the entire infrastructure of the chain living outside of each store in one of the company's 27 warehouses, allowing for easy relocation to high growth areas should the need arise. Weaknesses. Unlike most other countries entered into by the chain, Taiwan's dense and still booming population means there is a severe lack of land from which to build. Thus, there is a scarcity of freestanding sites, making it difficult for the 7-Eleven brand in Taiwan to conform with the US model of the store's standard size, format, and floor plan. This inability to conform with a tried and successfully tested model has meant the Taiwanese arm of the company has had to be quite innovating with their floor plans. Initially, 7-Eleven's Taiwanese license holder, PCSC, made mistakes in opening in residential sites surrounded by housewives who could not afford the high-end nature of the convenience chain at the time. As well as this, they purchased rather than rented initial store sites, and finally, they opened stores in the northern, central, and southern areas of Taiwan, which put a strain on and tested resources. The fact that the chain offered so many different services can, in some instances, be seen as a positive, and realistically, given the high quality of management of the store, it probably is. However, It could be argued that the chain might actually be offering too much, spreading their resources too broadly, and as a consequence, not focusing on services that generate the most income and require the most attention. Finally, it is highly publicised that the high employee turnover exists within the chain, which is potentially a sign of the company's human resources mismanagement. Opportunities. So where to next? The chain should look to follow trends set in developed markets such as that of the US and maintain as minimal a lag time as possible in releasing these products. Trends such as organic produce always result in a positive brand image and awareness for those businesses first to move on such trends. The chain should be looking to expand their horizons by pushing the boundaries of the company into growing economies such as the oil-rich Middle East and more. High growth, high density areas have proved a winning formula in the past, and the company should continue with this strategy to maintain future growth. Finally, the brand could increase profit margins by introducing a private label for some of their more popular items. Most major supermarket chains employ this strategy, particularly here in Australia, in which popular products are recreated by the chains using their significant purchasing power to push down the prices of raw inputs, thus resulting in similar, more affordable products. Finally, to threats. Intense competition with the likes of Family Mart could threaten the company's market share, with speculation amounting that Family Mart could be in line to acquire High Life International, which currently holds a 12.8% share in the market. 7-Eleven's constant push for fresh options could see an increase in wastage and consequently affect the revenue and bottom line of the company. Before the company implements fresh food options on a national scale, trial periods at certain stores should be arranged so as to ascertain the viability of such initiatives.
Hi, I'm Chantel and I'm going to talk about how 7-Eleven have positioned themselves in the Taiwanese market. Highlighted by its consistent success in the Taiwanese market from its birth in 1980 to now, 7-Eleven have positioned themselves favourably. One of the biggest contributors to 7-Eleven's success in the Taiwanese market was its ability to evolve and reposition itself to suit the changing demands and needs of Taiwanese society. As Miles and Snow highlight, major competitive breakthroughs have been achieved by firms that invented or were quick to apply new forms of organisation and management. When companies decide on their business level strategy, they are determining how they will position themselves in the market in order to gain a competitive advantage and sustain success and profitability. Michael Porter proposes a strategy typology which describes 5 strategies a firm can pursue. These strategies are defined by distinguishing whether a company's target market is broad or narrow, and whether the company is following a competitive advantage linked to lower cost or differentiation. Applying Porter's model of business level strategy, we're able to analyse within the framework how 7-Eleven have positioned themselves in the Taiwanese market. Each of these 3 phases of growth seen on the screen, imitation, localisation and innovation, employ distinct strategies and therefore position 7-Eleven differently in the market from the previous phase. Phase 1, imitation. The first phase of 7-Eleven's growth in Taiwan was characterised by conforming to the US model and underpinned by the desire to foster a positive working relationship with the American partner. While the exact imitation of stores from the US model was difficult in Taiwan due to the lack of space, PCSC developed a standardised set of formats to suit the conditions present in Taiwan, modelled on the US format. During this phase, 7-Eleven employed a focused differentiation strategy. A focused differentiation strategy involves concentrating on a narrow buyer segment or market niche and outcompeting rivals with a product offering that meets the specific tastes and requirements of niche members better than the product offerings of rivals. By opening stores in residential areas in the city centre, 7-Eleven's target market was narrowly defined to housewives, as they were understood to be the consumer with the most need for a convenience store. While this was a logical assumption, price was a major concern for these women, and 7-Eleven had positioned themselves as a high-end convenience store, therefore discouraging their main consumer. This focused strategy wasn't effective as the target market's needs were not matched effectively enough with the offerings of the stores and therefore did not allow for profitability and good growth potential. "7-Eleven employed a differentiation over a low-cost strategy consistently in Taiwan. Adopting a differentiation strategy is defined as achieving a competitive advantage by investing in developing products or services that offer unique qualities desirable to customers, which allow the firm to command a price premium. While 7-Eleven have achieved lower costs, especially during phases 2 and 3, by utilising their advantage of being part of a conglomerate, their main position to achieve competitive advantage by performing different activities rather than performing activities differently from rivals. In Phase 1, one of the main differentiating factors was the overall appeal of the store. 7-Eleven stores were characterised as being well-lit, neat, bright environments compared to local stores which were cramped, musty and dark. Due to the highly competitive nature of the growing convenience store industry in Taiwan, 7-Eleven began by offering the standard set of products and services, thus not employing a strong differentiation strategy to all aspects yet. However, by standardising their stores throughout the country, they provided a differentiating factor to consumers by delivering a standardised service in the form of the layout of the store. The reduced confusion and increased efficiency, qualities associated strongly with convenience stores, increased the appeal and differentiated 7-Eleven from other convenience stores in Taiwan. Phase 2, localisation. This phase recognised the need to fix the issues from Phase 1, primarily to expand the target market and reposition themselves. Phase 2 was also characterised by the desire to localise product offerings, with hopes this would also increase the target market. Franchising the stores and opening new stores allowed this change to develop while also fostering entrepreneurship and decentralised decision-making. A new broader demographic was targeted, young urban professionals, with stores aiming to open in high-density areas in city centres, such as railway stations, to increase convenience and footfalls. These changes frame 7-Eleven's positioning within a broad differentiation strategy, which seeks to differentiate the company's product offerings from rivals with superior attributes that will appeal to a broad spectrum of buyers. In this second phase of growth, 7-Eleven became more autonomous in Taiwan and were therefore able to introduce a wide range of local flavours in store, which became a differentiating factor. Combined with the new flavours was the service convenience 7-Eleven provided when delivering these new products. For example, Baozi, a breakfast bun, was warmed at point of sale, thus increasing the convenience and the freshness of the product. Another differentiating feature of 7-Eleven was its introduction of American products such as Slurpees and hot dogs, which appealed to young consumers. This allowed 7-Eleven to broaden their consumer base by targeting young people with American products, as well as increasing their product offerings with a more local flavour, thus expanding their target market further. Phase 3, innovation. Beginning in 2000, 7-Eleven sought to further expand their target market by offering different activities to consumers with the aim of reinforcing the concept of customer convenience. This was a necessary strategic decision due to the increased amount of competition in the convenience store industry in Taiwan. As there is a limit to how differentiation can apply to products alone, 7-Eleven pursued a strategy to increase their levels of convenience through services offered. This development fostered a synonymy with information technology and the 7-Eleven brand. iBon, an e-commerce kiosk, was installed in stores, enabling them to become a distribution channel of digitized services, increasing the number and nature of transactions. By offering differentiated services such as pre-ordering, delivery and pickup of items, telecom, money and taxi services, as well as coffee counter and seating areas, 7-Eleven were able to distinguish themselves from other convenience stores in Taiwan. 7-Eleven increased their target market even more in this phase through the application of certain services. Seniors were targeted with the addition of seating areas in stores. This created an area where seniors could come together and socialise, fostering a feeling of inclusion and involvement in society. 7-Eleven has positioned themselves in the Taiwanese market based on two questions. How can we help customers manage their daily chores? And how can we help them cope with their day-to-day inconveniences? By employing a broad differentiation strategy after a focused differentiation strategy limited their growth, 7-Eleven were able to expand and become the largest chain of convenience stores in Taiwan. Following the notion that whatever bothers customers is our business opportunity has allowed 7-Eleven to continually adapt their strategy to dictate a desirable position in the convenience store market in Taiwan, thus allowing 7-Eleven to dominate effectively and answer the needs of the Taiwanese population.
Hi, I'm Faris and I'm going to take you through 7-Eleven's international strategy. 7-Eleven Incorporated over the last 3 to 4 decades has become the world's largest operator, franchisor and licensor of convenience stores. Currently, the brand boasts some 58,300 stores in 17 countries. By countries, 7-Eleven has a strong presence in Asia, with Japan held by Seven & i Holdings Company having the largest number of stores outside the United States, closely followed by Thailand, Taiwan, and South Korea. Furthermore, by region, the brand maintains franchises in 11 Asian countries, 3 European countries, 3 North American countries, and 1 country in Oceania, as seen in the slides. The organization follows a global franchise business model, where the brand has sought from its franchisees worldwide consistency in the color separations of its signage, the presentation of the corporate logo, and the arrangement of the store interiors, while leaving the franchisee the choice of location. In terms of international dealings, 7-Eleven often enters into license agreements with foreign partners to ensure positive foreign exchanges and brand equity. Licensing, in essence, involves an agreement that allows a foreign company to purchase the right to manufacture and sell 7-Eleven's products, with the host country's market or a predefined set of markets in mind. A foreign licensee is typically a retailing organization that owns or leases several 7-Eleven stores in areas where the company does not currently do business in, but sees opportunity in. In these cases, 7-Eleven does not own the PP&E, which is the property, plant, and equipment, and imposes a set of contractual obligations on the licensee to ensure consistency of signage, store design elements, and store offerings, which are predefined in an organization's home office. The licensee nonetheless has access to brand equity and proprietary products. Specifically, 7-Eleven Incorporated's foreign strategy grants the licensee to use the 7-Eleven trademarks, trade dress, and business information systems. The company additionally provides ongoing business consulting services to its foreign counterparts for a fee based on % of monthly gross sales and a commitment from the licensee to grow 7-Eleven convenience store business in a specific geographic area on an exclusive basis for a set period of time. This supportive international strategy has allowed many foreign investors to currently invest in 7-Eleven and have the confidence to open stores in their respective mother nations, especially with 7-Eleven providing the opportunity and having the infrastructure and licenses in place to allow for franchising. Franchising is ultimately a type of licensing where a firm, or the franchisor, uses a franchise, which in this case is 7-Eleven, as a contractual relationship to distribute the control and sharing of its resources and capabilities with partners. This is attractive to foreign investors due to them having access to 7-Eleven's business model, brand's establishment, including the brand image and equity, the availability of training and systems, whilst also having the confidence in the franchisee and brand due to a proven track record of demonstrated success. Nonetheless, the brand's ultimate strategy has been to maintain its traditional product offering whilst incorporating the local culture and unique product offerings to match the demand of the local consumer. At the end of the day, a convenience store must be there to aid the consumer in getting what it is they need as easily and efficiently as possible. If 7-Eleven did not manage to do so effectively and in tangent with local standards, products, and lifestyles, the physical stores would have become specialty stores selling American goods and not convenience stores aiding the consumer to fulfill their unique needs. This ultimately defines 7-Eleven as having a transnational strategy, which is essentially a think global, act local approach that incorporates elements of both multi-domestic and global strategies. This strategy is complemented by 7-Eleven incorporating both centralized and decentralized strategies. The centralized strategy allows the home office in the United States to determine the brand's global coordination and control, and the decentralized approach aids in incorporating local flexibility to ensure customer needs are being met as effectively and efficiently as possible. 7-Eleven's international strategy and various foreign dealings have helped build and redefine the organization as a whole to ensure long-term success and its overall equity and image. Its presence and brand image in Japan, for example, has allowed for 7-Eleven as an organization to make changes and redefine itself in its mother nation, America. This was in particular executed through 7-Eleven seeing the difference and variance in brand perception between its foreign stores and its home nation stores. In particular, the difference between the brand perception in Japan or Taiwan versus that in the United States. In the United States, 7-Eleven had an overall bad brand image and perception, with the average American knowing 7-Eleven for its sticky floors, surly salespeople, and old product. But in Taiwan, where its convenience stores sold pantyhose and needs linked to local consumers, it had a positive brand perception. As said by Jim Keyes, the former CEO of 7-Eleven, in 2003. This difference in perception was brought on by 7-Eleven's international strategy of adapting to local needs whilst maintaining its convenience store nature, redefined its nature of retailing for a brand, and motivated the organization's future adaptation and dealings with its home nation, America.
So today I hope you've learned a bit about 7-Elevens and specifically in the Taiwanese market. Today we covered the principal economic and industry characteristics of the convenience store industry in Taiwan. Ashan explained how the market size and growth rate, number of rivals, buyer needs and requirements, degree of product differentiation and product innovation were the main key characteristics to be considered. Looking at the SWOT analysis, Morgan explained that the Taiwanese arm of the 7-Eleven, managed by PCSC, can perhaps lay claim to being the most convenient chain of the convenience stores anywhere in the world. The company's wide array of service offerings vastly outnumbers and outdoes the offerings of any other convenience store anywhere, and the manner in which these offerings are executed further strengthens this claim. As you will see from the previous SWOT analysis explained by Morgan, that the company's strengths are largely manufactured internally and not due to a fortuitous set of circumstances. Their opportunities are boundless and restricted only by international borders. Their weaknesses are the result of their push for perfection, while their threats are largely uncontrollable. 7-Eleven's position in the Taiwanese market. Chantal explained this in depth, looking at 3 phases: imitation, localization, and innovation. They have a very simple concept when it comes to their strategy. Whatever bothers customers is our business opportunity. By continually adapting their strategy to dictate a desirable position in the convenience store market, 7-Eleven have been able to dominate effectively and answer the needs of the Taiwanese population. Lastly, Faris explains 7-Eleven's international strategy. To sum it up, it's pretty much think global and act local. To maintain its traditional products offerings whilst incorporating the local culture and product offerings of the local population to match the needs and demand of the local consumer. Thank you for listening to our presentation today.